17 times. They stabbed me 17 times. I remember counting them as my body fell to the floor, as if counting could somehow protect me, as if numbers could make sense of the senselessness. The first blade came from my brother Karim. The kitchen knife, the one my mother used to cut vegetables for our family meals, entered my chest just below my collarbone. The shock was greater than the pain. My own brother. My blood pooled on the marble floor of my mother's home, the place where I had always felt safe, the place where I had played as a child. They did not stop after the first wound. They did not stop after the second. They stabbed me in my abdomen, my legs, my arms, my chest again and again. 17 times, the blade entered my body. 17 times, I felt my life leaving me. 17 times, I wanted to call out to Jesus, but I could not find my voice. When they finally stopped, when my body had become too weak to even cry out, they stood over me. My brothers, my cousins, men I had known my entire life. Men who had bounced me on their knees when I was a child. Men who had given me gifts on my birthdays. And now they were looking at my dying body with satisfaction, as if they had accomplished something noble, something righteous. My brother Mahmoud, the police officer, looked down at me and said, "This is what happens to apostates. This is what happens to women who betray Islam. You will die here, and your body will be a message to others." And then they left me. They left me bleeding on the cold marble floor of my mother's home, alone in my agony, alone with my faith, alone with Jesus. My name is Yasmin Ahmed Hassan, and I am from Cairo, Egypt. I am 29 years old. I am here to tell you that I should be dead. By every law of medicine, by every measure of human logic, I should not be alive. The wounds were too severe. The blood loss was too great. The damage was too extensive. But God had a different plan. God had a testimony to share with the world. Before that Tuesday evening when my family tried to murder me, I was a pharmacist. I worked at a private hospital in Cairo in the Al-Zamalek district, one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the city. I had a good salary. I had respect. I had a career that mattered. I had everything that a Muslim woman was supposed to want. But I was empty. I grew up in a religious family. My father, Ahmed Hassan, was an Islamic scholar. He was a respected man in our community, known for his strict interpretation of Islam and his deep knowledge of the Quran. He had passed away 5 years before this happened, but his influence remained in our home, in our values, in the way my mother and my brothers lived. My mother, Layla, was completely devoted to Islam and to honoring my father's memory. She wore full niqab. She never left the house without permission. She had made it her life's work to ensure that her children followed Islamic law perfectly. I had 2 older brothers. Karim was a businessman, very successful, very conservative. He was active in the mosque. He had strong connections with people in the Muslim Brotherhood. My other brother, Mahmoud, was a police officer. He was also extremely conservative, extremely religious. He saw himself as a guardian of Islamic values. In many ways, he saw himself as a protector of family honor. I was the only daughter. From childhood, I was expected to be perfect, to be modest, to be obedient, to embody Islamic virtue. My parents had sent me to the best schools. I was intelligent. I studied hard. I became a pharmacist because my father had encouraged education, but only for the purpose of serving the family and serving Islam. I wore hijab. I prayed 5 times a day. I fasted during Ramadan. I read the Quran. I memorized many surahs. I did everything I was supposed to do. I was the perfect Muslim daughter. But inside, I was searching for something more. I was searching for meaning. I was searching for God. I was searching for truth. At the hospital where I worked, I met a woman named Dr. Rebecca. She was a Coptic Christian. She was also a pharmacist. We worked in the same department. We became close friends over time. We would have lunch together. We would talk about our lives, our dreams, our struggles. She understood what it was like to be a professional woman in a male-dominated society. She understood what it was like to navigate expectations and cultural pressure. Rebecca was different from other people I knew. There was a peace about her. There was a joy in her that seemed to come from deep inside. There was a freedom in the way she lived her life that I had never seen in any Muslim woman I knew. I asked her one day why she seemed so different, so at peace. She told me it was because of Jesus. She said that Jesus had given her real life. Not just the external performance of religion, but a real relationship with God. She said that Jesus loved her personally. She said that Jesus had set her free. I was fascinated. I was drawn to her. But I was also terrified. I knew that even listening to her talk about Jesus was dangerous. In Egypt, converting from Islam to Christianity was not just a personal matter. It was a crime. It was apostasy. And apostasy could result in death. But I could not stop listening to her. She never pushed me. She never told me I had to become a Christian. She just shared her faith naturally, authentically. She told me about the Bible. She told me about Jesus' teachings. She told me about his love for women, his compassion for the suffering, his radical inclusion of those society rejected. One day, Rebecca gave me a Bible. It was a small Bible that she had hidden in a book jacket. She told me to read it in secret. She told me not to tell anyone. She said that if I was searching for God, if I was searching for truth, then the Bible would help me find it. I took the Bible home. For weeks, I read it in secret. I read about Jesus at night when my mother was asleep. I read about his teachings. I read about his miracles. I read about the way he treated women with dignity and respect. I read about his death and resurrection. And the more I read, the more I felt something awakening inside me. I remember one night, lying in my bed, reading the Gospel of John. Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." Something broke open inside me when I read those words. It was as if I had been thirsty my entire life, and someone was finally offering me water. I began to pray to Jesus. Not formally, not the way I had prayed to Allah, but intimately, personally. I would talk to Jesus as if he was there with me, and I began to feel his presence. I began to experience a relationship with God that I had never known before. One night, I had a vision. Jesus appeared to me. He was standing in light. He looked at me with such compassion, such tenderness, that I could not help but cry. He told me that he saw my loneliness. He told me that he understood my searching. He told me that he loved me completely. He told me that he had died for me so that I could be free. He told me that if I would follow him, I would never be alone again. When I woke up, I knew with absolute certainty that I wanted to follow Jesus. I made a secret decision to become a Christian. For 3 months, I lived a double life. During the day, I was the perfect Muslim daughter. I wore my hijab. I went to the mosque. I prayed with my family. I read the Quran. I spoke respectfully about Islam. But at night, I read the Bible. I prayed to Jesus. I attended secret church meetings with Rebecca. I was learning what it meant to be a Christian. I was experiencing a faith that was authentic and real. But I also knew that my time of secrecy was running out. My family had been arranging my engagement to a man named Amr. He was a wealthy businessman from a very religious family. The engagement was going to be announced publicly in just a few weeks. After that, I would be married. I would be under the control of my husband and his family. I would have even less freedom than I had now. I would have no chance to practice my faith openly. I struggled with what to do. Should I tell my family about my conversion now, before the engagement was announced? Should I try to escape? Should I run away with Rebecca? I did not know what to do. I decided to wait a little longer. I decided to pray about it. I decided to ask Jesus to show me what to do. But I did not get that chance. On a Tuesday evening, my mother called me. She said she was making dinner and she wanted me to come to her home to help her. I thought it was a normal invitation. I thought I would spend time with my mother, help her cook, have a family meal. I did not know that it was a trap. I drove to my mother's house. I entered the home where I had grown up. I entered the kitchen where my mother was waiting. But she was not alone. Standing in the living room were my brothers, Karim and Mahmoud. And with them were my cousins, 3 men I barely knew, men who were connected to the mosque, men who were connected to my brother's religious circles. My mother's face was cold. She would not look at me. My brother Karim held something in his hand. A piece of paper. He unfolded it. It was a photograph. A photograph of me with Rebecca. We were at lunch together. We were laughing. We looked happy. My brother said my name. Yasmin. He said it like an accusation. He asked me to explain what was in the photograph. He asked me why I was spending so much time with a Christian woman. He asked me if I had something to confess. I did not answer him. I could not speak. My brother Mahmoud stepped forward. He said that they knew everything. He said that they knew I was reading Christian books. He said that they knew I was attending Christian meetings. He said that they knew I had become a Christian. He said that this was apostasy. He said that apostasy was punishable by death according to Islamic law. I wanted to run. I wanted to scream. But I was frozen. I was in my mother's home. I was surrounded by my family. I had no weapon. I had no way to escape. They demanded that I recant. They demanded that I say that I rejected Jesus and that I wanted to return to Islam. They gave me one chance to save my life. I looked at my mother. I looked at my brothers. I looked at these men who were supposed to love me, who were supposed to protect me. And I thought about Jesus. I thought about what he had taught me. I thought about the freedom he had given me. I thought about his love for me. And I said no. I said that I believed in Jesus Christ. I said that I had given my life to him. I said that I would not recant, no matter what they did to me. The silence that followed was absolute. And then Karim moved. He pulled a knife from the kitchen drawer. The same knife my mother used every day to cut vegetables. He came toward me. I did not try to run. I did not try to fight. I simply stood there and I prayed. I prayed to Jesus. I asked him to be with me. I asked him to forgive them. I asked him to use my suffering for his glory. He stabbed me in the chest. The first wound. The shock was greater than the pain. My own brother was killing me. He stabbed me again. And again. And then my cousins joined in. They all had knives now. They were stabbing me from all directions. I fell to the floor. I tried to protect myself, but I could not. There were too many of them. They were too strong. 17 times, the blade entered my body, the chest, the abdomen, both my legs, both my arms, my ribs, my side. 17 times, I felt my life draining from me. 17 times, I felt my blood leaving my body. But even as I was dying, I felt Jesus with me. I felt his presence. I heard him telling me that he was there. I heard him telling me not to be afraid. When they finally stopped, when my body had lost so much blood that I could no longer move, they stood over me. My brother Mahmoud looked at my dying body and he said, "This is what happens to apostates. This is what happens to women who betray Islam and betray their family. You will die here. And your body will be a message to others." And then they left. They walked out of my mother's home and they left me there, bleeding on the marble floor, alone, dying. But I did not die. A housemaid who worked for my mother heard the commotion. She had been in another room during the attack. When she came out and saw me, she screamed. She called for help. She called an ambulance. But more importantly, she called Dr. Rebecca. Rebecca arrived at the hospital just as I was being admitted. She was shocked to see me. She saw my body, covered with stab wounds, covered with blood. She saw how close I was to death. But she also saw that I was alive. She told the hospital staff that I was her patient. She told them that she would oversee my care personally. She connected me with the best surgeons in Cairo. She stood by my bed for the first 72 hours, making sure that I lived. The doctors said it was impossible. They said that no one could survive 17 stab wounds distributed across the body like mine were. They said that I should have died from the first wound in my chest. They said that I should have died from the blood loss. They said that I should have died from the infection or the shock. But I did not die. As I lay in that hospital bed, bandaged and in terrible pain, I realized something. Every single stab wound had missed my vital organs. The one in my chest had missed my heart by centimeters. The ones in my abdomen had missed my liver, my kidneys, my intestines. Millimeter by millimeter, the knives had avoided killing me. The doctors could not explain it. One surgeon told me that he had never seen anything like it in his entire career. He said that it was medically impossible for someone to survive wounds like mine. He said that by all laws of medicine, I should be dead. But I was alive. And I knew why. Jesus had protected me. Jesus had saved my life. During my recovery in the hospital, I was visited by my brother Mahmoud. He came to my room while I was still in critical condition. He told me that if I reported the attack to the authorities, he would come back and finish what he started. He told me that the family would kill me. He told me that I was legally dead to them, dead to Islam, dead to Egypt. After that visit, I was moved to a secure room. Rebecca made sure that I had protection. She sat outside my door. She did not let anyone near me without her permission. But I could not hide forever. The hospital staff began to pressure Rebecca. They said that they could not protect me indefinitely. They said that my family had connections, that there were people in the police department who wanted me dead, that I was not safe in Cairo. For 3 months, I was hospitalized. The wounds healed slowly. The physical pain gradually lessened. But the emotional and spiritual pain was much deeper. I had lost my family. My mother had not visited me. My brothers had not contacted me. My extended family had disowned me. In Islamic law, I was dead to them. In their eyes, I had already died. After 3 months, when the doctors said that I was well enough to be discharged, Rebecca told me that I could not stay in Egypt. She said that my family would find me. She said that my brothers would kill me if they found me alive. She said that I needed to leave the country. With help from international Christian organizations, with help from people who believed in religious freedom and human rights, I was given a new identity. I was given documents. I was given resources. And I was smuggled out of Egypt. I spent 2 weeks in hiding in various safe houses. I was transported at night. I was hidden during the day. And finally, I was taken to the airport. I left Egypt on a flight to Lebanon. I am now living in Beirut, Lebanon, in a Christian community. It has been 2 years since my family tried to kill me. I still carry the scars of the 17 stab wounds. I still have nightmares about that evening. I still struggle with the trauma of what my family did to me. But I am alive. And I am free. I work as a pharmacist in a Christian hospital. I lead Bible study groups for Middle Eastern Christian refugees who, like me, have fled persecution. I speak publicly about my faith and my journey, using a pseudonym for safety. I am writing a memoir about what happened to me, so that the world will know about the persecution of Christians in the Middle East. Every day, I pray for my mother. I pray for my brothers. I pray that one day they will come to know Jesus. I pray that they will understand that I did not betray them. I chose truth. I chose freedom. I chose Jesus. Some people ask me if I regret my decision to become a Christian. They ask me if I regret choosing Jesus over my family. They ask me if I regret the suffering that my faith has cost me. My answer is always the same. No. I do not regret it for a single moment. Yes, I have lost my family. Yes, I have lost my home. Yes, I have endured suffering that I would not wish on anyone. Yes, I carry scars on my body and in my heart that will never fully heal. But I have gained Jesus. I have gained freedom. I have gained a relationship with God that is real and authentic and personal. I have gained a family of believers who love me and support me. I have gained a purpose to tell my story so that the world knows that Jesus is real, that Jesus is worth any cost, that Jesus will not abandon us even when everyone else does. My name is Yasmin Ahmed Hassan. I am from Cairo, Egypt. I was stabbed 17 times by my own family. I was left for dead on the floor of my mother's home. But God saved me. Jesus saved me. And I am alive to tell this story. To anyone who is listening to this and who is considering following Jesus, I want to tell you this. The cost may be higher than you can imagine. You may lose your family. You may lose your home. You may lose your security. You may suffer in ways that you cannot even conceive of right now. But Jesus is worth it. Jesus is always worth it. He will never leave you. He will never abandon you. He will stand with you in your darkest moment. He will hold you when you are dying. He will save you when all hope is gone. I am living proof of that truth. Thank you for listening to my testimony. Please pray for me. Please pray for my family. Please pray for all the Christians in the Middle East who are facing persecution every day. Please pray for those who have been killed, imprisoned, tortured, and abandoned for their faith. And if you have the freedom to worship Jesus openly, please thank God for that freedom. Please use that freedom to stand with those who do not have it. Please share my story. Please let the world know that Jesus is alive, that he is real, and that he saves those who believe in him. Because faith that costs everything is faith that is real. And that faith is worth any price.